Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a fabulous Sunday afternoon and you are staying cool wherever you are. I'm just going to wait for a few people to get on or somebody to jump on. If not, I will just go ahead and get started. So I think my comments are on, so I'm not sure who just joined me, but do thank you for joining me, and I hope that your Sunday afternoon you're staying cool wherever you are, staying cool and staying hydrated. It's hot. Oh my goodness, it is so hot over here. I don't know if you're watching where you're watching me from, but in Texas it's hot. So I'm just so glad that I have something that I can be able to do that I can do inside. So crafting is the perfect therapy for being inside and keeping busy, especially when it's just so hot. So hi Stella, thank you for joining me today. I'm gonna go ahead and get started here just in a, I see this little new feature on there when we're watching. There's a little wave feature, so I don't know if you saw a little wave. I hit the little button, so I'm not sure what happened on your side. I hit it again, so I don't know if I'm just like waving, but that's kind of cool. So Sherman, I'm actually from McKinney, Texas. That's where I was born and raised for the first probably up to 4th grade, I think it was. So that's my birth town. So that's where I'm from. My grandparents used to have a florist on Tennessee Street. So, but it's long gone and they're passed on. So I grew up in a florist environment. So, but today's class, but anyway, I just want to go ahead and get started because I can rant on and on and on and on. But my name is Barbara Ragsdale. Hey Veronica, I'm glad you caught me, and I'm glad that I'm actually on the right page going live. So, but my name is Barbara Ragsdale for those of you that haven't met me, and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and I am located in the San Antonio, Texas area. I'm in Northeast San Antonio. And if you're not familiar with Stampin' Up, we are a paper crafting company that sells anything having to do with paper crafts and products, from stamp sets to inks to designer series paper, to ribbon, accessories. There's a whole product line with 50 colors that have a lot of products that coordinate with each other. So if you're looking for paper crafting where it kind of takes the guesswork out of matching up your ink to your ribbon to any kind of accessories, Stampin' Up will have a full product line. And I hear a cat behind me, so I hope he doesn't come in here and jump on me because I forgot to put the cats away. But there's a whole product line, and it's designed for every level of crafter or every level of stamper. So whether you're you've never heard of it and you're beginning to get into it, or you occasionally do this, or you're an avid stamper, there's something for everyone, including kits. We also sell kits, and Stampin' Up's paper subscription kit is called Paper Pumpkin, and I don't have a box right here in front of me, but it's a kit that comes directly to your door every single month. There's he went upstairs. I can't see that part on my screen, but it's a paper subscription kit, and it has everything that you need in order to make those products for that particular month. And every single month the products change, and there's always an exclusive stamp set that's for that month. And so with that being said, I was going to show you when I point the camera down, but we just got the download information. The download. I mean, I said download, but it sounded like download. But it's the download, for real, it is. On the August Paper Pumpkin kit, and I know you probably can't see that, but the title is World's Greatest by Paper Pumpkin, and it includes enough supplies to create 9 cards and envelopes, The stamp set features distinctive stamps, so I believe that's a copy, like a trademark, or a, what do they call it? I can't think of the word, but like Stampin' Up! Owns that particular product and created that. And the colors are Bumblebee, Gold, Mint Macaron, Pacific Point, Soft Suede, and White. And the whole kit is designed to make cards for appreciation to the everyday heroes in our life. So I know we have a lot. We either have some in our families, or we know somebody directly that is a first line responder of some kind, or on the first, essential worker. And for the last several months, I know a lot of those people have needed and appreciate all the encouragement from the people that they support, because they really are working hard. They work hard every day, but these last few months have been super hard for them at the same time. So the next Paper Pumpkin kit, the subscription service just started, and the kits are $22 a month, and they come directly to your door. They're available in 3-month subscriptions, 6-month subscriptions, and annual subscriptions. And I want to say when you do the annual, there's like a whole month that you end up getting free, but that's a prepaid subscription that takes the guesswork out of everything. So if you're looking for something to keep yourself busy, or to keep your kids busy, or to gift, those are perfect gifts as well. Think about Paper Pumpkin. So you can go to my website. When I point the camera down, you'll see my blog spot. So there's and my website, but on my blog, there's a page specific that talks a little bit more about Paper Pumpkin, and the links on how to sign up as well. So for July, the stamp that we were using was Birds and Branches, and last week we made 4 cards using the Birds and Branches bundle, and so there's one of them. It's probably, I don't know if that's, you can see that. I know things are probably backwards because of my camera. There's the other one, and this one flips out. Just a little different fold. Then you have this one, and then we have the one that says Smile, and this one actually opens that way. So, and for those of you that joined me last week or watched the replay, the missing stamp, it was still missing as of yesterday, but yesterday evening, I opened up the stamp set to see if it was still missing, and lo and behold, the stamp was in the stamp case. And I thought, no way. I checked this stamp case over, I checked it at least once, but anyway, that missing Rogue stamp from last week, apparently I found it, and it wasn't registering in my mind that, oh my God, that's the missing stamp set. And I just, out of habit, just took it off and probably put it in the case at some point, and totally forgot that I did that. But anyway, so the saga of the missing stamp set is over, because it was found, and it was where it was supposed to be, which is in the stamp case with the rest of the stamps. So we're going to be doing that drawing for those cards. So whoever I draw is going to get all 4 of these cards mailed to them, and if I don't have your mailing address, I will just message you for it, or if I have it already, I'll get these in the mail to you. But how you win is when you have to watch the videos and comment, like. If you share, you get a couple of entries in the video. So yeah, it found its way back home, and I was just like, how did I miss that? But I did. So so we're going to do the drawing for those 4 cards, and everybody that liked, comment, I went back and double checked all the names and shared the video from last week. The names are in the drawing, and hopefully one day I can have a cup that's bigger than one of these treat cups that Stampin' Up! Used to sell, that I just decorated with some designer series paper from the Christmas Gleaming stamp set, which I'm going to show you a little preview of that, because our holiday catalog, we get to order from our holiday catalog, so that's pretty exciting. And I've already gotten 1 order, and working on another one. So I'm just gonna mix those up, and then we're gonna pull a name and see who gets these cards. And she's watching right now. I know it's backwards, but maybe if I turn it that way you can see it. It's Stella. I know it's backwards, but it's Stella. So congratulations, Stella. I know I don't have your address, so I will make sure that I message you, or you can just PM me your address, and then I'll get those out into the mail to you tomorrow. But I did want to mention there's a couple of events coming up, and you're welcome. There's a couple of events coming up, and the next one on my calendar to come up, and I just sent some information out just a few days ago, is and I know you can't read that from here, but this is the flyer that I did, and I changed the color of the green because it's way too dark for me to have to print, so I changed it to another color. But basically, I don't know if you can see that right there, but that actually is it's a picture of our new holiday catalog. So when I got my order in, we got our actual catalogs, and I can't show you anything on the inside, but sometime in the middle of this next week, I'm going to jump on and just show some of the products. We just can't show the catalog, but we can show you some of the products. So I'll sneak on at some point later in the week, in the evening time, just to give you a little preview of what's in the catalog. And those that were at my team meeting yesterday got a little goodie bag with there was some pizza boxes that were decorated with some designer series paper, and on the inside they had a bag of the little jingle bells from the catalog. So hopefully that'll inspire them to get started with some Christmas cards. I know it's July, but I've heard there's Christmases and all can be in July as well. But anyway, this particular event is the Stampin' Up! Bingo event, and there's no cash prizes or anything like a normal bingo. So if you've ever participated in a Stampin' Up! Bingo, there is a fee to join and play bingo, but instead of cash prizes, you are getting Stampin' Up! Product. So there are drawings after every bingo for the for Stampin' Up! Products. And so what we do is you get a swag bag of some product that you're going to use on the make and takes, because at some point during the bingo we stop and make some quick cards so that you have a takeaway. And then we're going to play 6 games of bingo with a chance to win prizes, and the prize basket literally always has at least, you know, a couple of $100 worth of product in it. So and then there's other prizes also to be won. But the good thing about it is this particular event, I'm not doing a live event. It's going to be online, so anybody in the United States can participate. So if you want to join me for some holiday Stampin' Up! Bingo, it is August the 8th at 6:30 p.m. And once you RSVP and you register for the event, then I'll send you the link so that you can join us during that time frame. And it'll be on Zoom, so you want to make sure that you have Zoom downloaded either on your phone or your computer, and that you can participate with at least the audio part, but also try to do the video as well. That way, if you're playing bingo and you win, you want to make sure that I can hear you say bingo so that you win your prize. So that's coming up. It's on my blog. It's also on my Facebook page. There's a whole event that has a lot more of the details and the links in order to RSVP. So go find that. Let me plug my phone in. I just got the notice that said low battery, and that happened before, and I thought that I was yeah, the power strip is on, so I should not have a problem. But then the next event that is a little bit down the road, but I'm still booking for it, and I think there's about 4 spots left, is a weekend retreat in the Texas Hill Country, and we're going to be at the Mountain Laurel Retreat in New Braunfels. And I had an opportunity about 3 weeks or so ago to go check out the place. And I think that if you've ever been to the Texas Hill Country, it's gorgeous out there, and so is this particular retreat center. So and there is a whole page on my blog as well that has all of the details about the weekend retreat and the cost and what you're getting as far as your goodie bags, your make and takes. There's optional add-on classes, and for those of you that cannot attend, there's also going to be a to-go version as well. So you will get everything that someone at the retreat will get to go, and it'll be delivered to your home. So go check out all the details on that. And then I want to show you the stamp set that we're going to be making today, that we're going to be using today. And I've been using this kind of off and on since the annual catalog came out, but this is actually the first time that I'm doing a Facebook Live on it. And we're going to be using the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set. And I'm going to show you some pages in the catalog when I point the catalog down to show you where it's at in the catalog. But this stamp set is just one piece of an entire suite that is in the catalog, and I think you're going to really like the colors, the projects. It's actually called Flowers for Every Season, and it literally is an entire collection that has a couple of different stamp sets and a lot of accessories that go with it. So so we'll get started. I'm going to get the camera pointed down, and I'm going to save this for later so that I can show you. And then let me move some of this out of the way, and let me get this card put out here. That way when I turn the camera down, you'll be able to see the cards we're going to be making today. So okay, good. Thank you, Stella. All I need is your mailing address, and that's all I use it for. It's just to mail prizes. So I don't just go add people to mailing lists unless they absolutely want to be. So so I'm going to go ahead and get the camera pointed down, and then show you and get started on our cards. Okay, so hold on. There we go. And let me tighten this just to make sure. I want you to at least see that website right there with the host code. There you go. Hi, Darla. I did the drawing, and Stella won the cards from last week, from Birds and Branches bundle. So these were the cards there. And I found the missing rogue stamp, so that one's been found. And these are the cards that we're going to be making today. And you know, normally I do a simple stamping one, and I did want to continue to do one, but what I wanted to do also was show you how we use our new aqua painters. So if you like to watercolor, we're going to be using these today. There's actually a set, there's two of them that have like this paintbrush end, and then this one, when I opened it, is almost like a little paintbrush, and it's real soft. But I'm going to show you how to do that when we work on this card here. So this is my simple stamping version, and it is simple, but I'm going to be using the watercolor techniques, and I'm not going to be using the fluid paper that we have. We actually do have some fluid 100 paper that's designed for watercoloring, but when I did this sample, it actually did pretty good on the regular cardstock paper. It didn't take that long to dry, and it didn't, you know, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it did just fine. It did just fine, and it just was just a matter of letting it dry for just, you know, a few seconds, and then I put it back on here. So, and then this is the second one, and on some of these I've gone ahead and done 2 of the flowers on each one, and I'm only going to do 1 on each card and die cut it here live. For those viewers that don't know how to use our stamping blends and then use the die cutting machine. So that just kind of saves some extra time. And then for these flowers, I went ahead and die cut them all just to save time on that. But if you remember a couple of weeks ago when I did the Playful Pets, I did the card that had the catnip in there. And on this one, we're going to use that same shaker jar just to make a little mason jar for our sunflowers to sit in. And there's so many different ways you can do this. And I'm just doing it this way because it's something simple I can show you. And so now we'll go ahead and get started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started on the one that I called Simple Stamping. And then I just add a little twist to it with some ribbon and a gilded gem here. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that one. And I'm going to take a sip of some apple juice here because I felt my throat getting dry. All right. So for this particular card right here, thank you, Darla, for sharing. We are breaking out the Whisper White, and then this is Daffodil Delight. It's one of the shades of yellow that we have. And then, remember how I told you we have coordinating products? This is the Daffodil Delight, and it's called Ruched Ribbon. I think that's how they pronounce it. And you can see how well that coordinates with that Daffodil Delight. If you didn't have this, another alternative is you can always purchase, if you want to be able to make your own color ribbon, you can take this seam binding ribbon, this Whisper White seam binding ribbon, along with, let me see if this is the one. This is not Daffodil Delight, this is Dark Mango Melody, but it's one of the other kind of yellows in the product line. But you can take your crinkled ribbon with the blends and color it. Because this is alcohol based, it will dry pretty quickly, and you could make your own color ribbon. So if you don't want to invest in a bunch of different ribbons, you can certainly take a ribbon like this and color it any color that you want. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples once I'm done with this card. But this particular one, we already had one in the product line that had like a little ruffle to it. So I thought, let me use that. I need to use this one. And then we're just gonna, it's all it is this Daffodil Delight and Whisper White. So I'm gonna set that aside. And then I don't know if you remember our old snail adhesive cases. I always kept these little trays that the adhesives were packaged in, because I've used so many of these for little painting projects, and I'm actually going to use it today, because normally when we use any of our re-inkers for any kind of watercoloring or anything like that, we usually use like this part of our stamp pad, the inside, if it's the same color. I wouldn't mix colors in one particular one. So I'm just going to use this because it's more disposable. So these come in really, really handy. I like being able to multi-use scraps and other things in order to do what I need to do. So I'm going to push that up just a little bit out of the way. And then instead of the Memento black ink that this is stamped on, I went ahead and stamped the giant sunflower in early espresso. And I'm going to show you how I got this little piece right here, because normally if you do a stamp and then you do a stamp on top of it, you're going to get an overlay. And I want to show you how I did that piece and then just kind of filled in so that it looks like those leaves are behind the sunflower. and they're not really behind, it's just butted up again. It's just an illusion. But if you don't have dies and you want to just stick with your stamps and your inks, I'm going to show you how you can still get the effect and make a beautiful card, a beautiful simple card, without having to have a bunch of dies and punches that coordinate, especially if you're on a budget. So I'm going to ink up. I've already gone ahead and put everything on blocks, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up the giant sunflower, which looks like that. And I'm not going to stamp it all the way where you can see the whole image. I just want to make sure that's inked up pretty well. I'm going to take this and kind of stamp it right here. That way there's a little bit to show right here and a little bit over here. And then how I did that is I went ahead, and this is just a scrap piece of paper. The dies that come in the set, this particular set, Celebrate Sunflowers, has all these flowers, but then there's also coordinating dies that go with it. And I used this large one in order to cut just a scrap piece. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm actually done with this early espresso, so I'm going to put that aside and break out. Oh, no, what? No, I'm not, because I need to do the leaves. So let me grab that leaf. There's the leaf. And then in order to do that piece right here where it looks like it's bud up, I just line this up. See if I can get it lined up here. And that's kind of tricky. I'm looking for the image on here that lines up with this little piece right here. There we go. So that lines up. It's like a masking technique, I believe is what the actual technique is called. So this just overlays directly on the image. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just doing the outline in Early Espresso. And I'm going to butt it up against this little piece right here. And I'm just going to press down. And you're going to see a little bit of a difference between where the stamp just imaged versus where the sunflower ends. And that's okay, because we're going to fill that in with some of the watercoloring. And then I'll get this one down here. And I'm going to lift this straight up. And you can see there's a little bit of gap in between, and that's fine. And I'm actually done with that. And then I lied. I'm going to stamp that. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment while I have it open. So let me stamp the sentiment, which is Let's Celebrate You. We do want to get all our stamping out of the way. I could have gone through and done all this and then messed up on my stamping part, and I would have been like, ugh, but it happens. So let me get that in there. And hopefully I got it straight. Yay! I got it straight the first time. Okay, now I'm done with Early Espresso. And we don't need any more inks, because after this part, all we're going to be doing is the watercoloring. And for the watercoloring, these are our new aqua painters. And what you do is, it's kind of weird because normally you would think to close it or to open it. I don't know. It seemed backwards to me, but to open it, it's actually clockwise, and to close it, it's counterclockwise. I don't know. That seemed weird to me. So I kept doing it the other way, thinking I was opening, and I was actually tightening it. But this piece comes off, and you actually put the water in there. And then just make sure you close it back up. See, it's counterclockwise to. And then once you turn it up, there's a little part right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it actually says push. So when you're holding it and you hold it down, you want to push on that. And what that does, that water gets through to the end of the little brush tip. And then whatever you dip this in is what will be watercolor. And you kind of have to do it quick, because with watercoloring, if you stay too long in one area, it will saturate that area. But in order to get I'm gonna do the leaves first, and all I'm doing is Mossy Meadow. So I just took some Mossy Meadow, and I'm gonna put a little dot or a little drip. I'll go ahead and do 2 just to make sure I have enough. And these are our ink refills is what I'm using. I think these are like $3.75. So when you have stamps that are going dry after you've used them a lot, you can always purchase the refills that so you can juice them back up. So now I'm going to point this down, and I'm going to press on this until I start to see some water want to come out, and I saw some water wanting to come out there. I'll kind of bring this up a little bit. Now last night after I finished using this, I left it, see, there we go, now I got some water in there. I left it standing up so the tip would go dry, because if it's left wet and covered, it will mold. So, and you don't want moldy products. So all I'm doing is getting in there and getting that a little wet, kind of diluting it just a little bit. If you want it the full strength, then you can just go in there and without the water, but I'm just making it a little. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna start, and I'm gonna go quick, and I'm gonna re-dip that in there, and I'm gonna do this one. I'm just following the lines, which is real easy. Just follow the lines that you see on the stamps, and it doesn't have to be any particular like, you don't have to be neat about it, because that's the whole purpose of doing this, is these are handmade. And then I'm gonna fill in lightly right here around the edge where the sunflower meets, and then I'm gonna go back in later and add a little bit more to darken it. That way it looks seamless. That just helps me with basically coloring. And then just fill in the rest. You could easily do this with a blend. I could have easily done this with a blend, but I wanted to show you the aqua painters and how we use those, because I know different people prefer different methods of coloring, and we do have, like I said, we have a variety of products for everyone's taste in our catalog. So if you like, kind of put some extra on that, if you like to watercolor, if you like, you know, pencil coloring, we also have that. Let me get this little piece darker in here. And I've seen some pretty some pretty talented people out there that use, you know, if they're painters, because they like to paint, you know, like canvas painting. I've seen some pretty talented people out there. So, and then I'm going to show you the back. See, you hardly see anything through the back, and that part's going to dry as we're moving on. But oh, let me keep that here, because I want to use the other side for the other one. And I'm going to use the same one because it's okay that it's dark. I'm just over here off to the side brushing any excess green off, and whatever green stays on there, I'm okay with that. And then I'm going to take the Daffodil Delight re-inker, and I'm going to put a couple of spots, oops, there. And then I don't want it just Daffodil Delight. Actually, I need 2 more. I need another one here. There's that one, because I do want Daffodil Delight by itself, but then I also am going to make a little separate mixture over here with some early espresso, because I want it to be a little on the darker side. So I put that in there, and I'm going to use the darker one first. So I'm just gonna get some water in there and mix that up. That's why I'm glad I have these, and I hope I can see what I'm doing. I think I put a lot on that. Ooh, that was a lot. And then I'm just gonna start. And like I said, you can definitely get away with using the blends on this, but I wanted to use the water, these aqua painters. And if you're quick about it, you can try to focus here at the same time, just to fill in that. I know there's other people that have probably different techniques, but this was the easiest for me and with my hands. So I just want the center to be dark, and I'm going to leave that like that for now, and then I'm going to actually use the other one. So let me get that one open and get some water on that one. And then I'm just going to use the Daffodil Delight and mix that with a little bit of water. And I'm going to go back in and fill in the top and kind of blend it with the bottom, this bottom mixture. And I'm using the pointed tip to kind of help guide me and just dragging it back in. And I'm just doing a first run right now, but you can actually go back and fill in if you want to go back and fill in any other little spots that you might have missed, or that you want to darken up, or that you want to blend a little bit more. So I'm just kind of trying to blend that in with the end of the little Daffodil Delight and Early Espresso blend that I made. And of course, the strength of your color was all depend on what all you put in it and how much water you're watering it down with. So no two cards are going to be the same unless you have the same, unless you have a lot kind of pre-mixed and you're using the same colors. They may be pretty close to each other, but. And when I decided to use this card, I was thinking about my mother-in-law because I hadn't seen her in a while. It's been a couple of months since I saw her, and I know that she likes her sunflowers. So, and I'm just going back in and filling in these little missing white spots that I did here. So thank you for joining me. If you've not joined me before, thank you for taking part of your Sunday afternoon, and hope you're inside and staying cool and hydrated, and have a nice cold glass of some sweet tea. I know I still like my I don't work for Whataburger anymore, but I love my Whataburger sweet tea. So I'm gonna fill that in. Of course, blends goes a lot faster, but if you're not concerned and you got all the time, which we have a lot of time on our hands being at home, and then what I'm going to do for the inside is I'm just going to take some of the full strength. I forgot what I guess it was this one. I'm going to try to use the full strength on that one. And then I'm just going to do the inside. No particular rhyme or reason. I'm just kind of coloring the inside. Let's see if I can. And then after I get the inside, I guess you could make it as dark as you really wanted to make it, but I'm going to leave it like that so you can still see some of the black that's part of that. And let me fill in some of these little white spots right here. And the thing I like about the sunflowers is I have seen some actually really pretty other cards where people are making different color sunflowers, and I'm like, wow, that's really pretty. I've seen some pink ones, I've seen blue ones, I've seen purple ones. I mean, I'm like, oh my gosh. So you can make these when you're doing this with blends, or if you're doing aqua painters or whatever you're doing, you can actually make so many different colors. You can make your sunflower any color you want, which is nice. So if you want later, you can go back in with a blend and kind of blend the colors a little bit more, but your lines all depend on how quick you're doing it, and your strokes are before the color sets in. So I'm going to set that aside because I'm actually done with that. I don't want to add any more water, but you can see there's only a few spots where it showed through. But if you're concerned and you still want to use the watercolor paper, we do have watercolor paper, and it has sort of like a texture to it. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little bit of a texture to it. It's thicker because it's designed to absorb all that extra moisture from the paper. So while that is sitting right there just drying just a second, I'm going to get our mats. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to put these aside. Make sure that there's nothing there. Go ahead and fold our base, which is Whisper White. It's just a standard card base that has a 8.5 by 11. Let me get my bone folder. 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that's cut. Well, this particular one was cut at 5.5, and then I just fold it. So then you have this piece here. And then this Daffodil Delight piece. Get some Stampin' seal on the back of this. Mat this down. The Whisper White mat that we did, trying to get this on straight, that we did the stamping on is going to be not the standard 1/4 inch difference between the cardstock. I think I cut it at like what, the 8th, the next little 8th size down, just because I wanted to see just, oh look, there's some rogue ink right there. I just wanted to see a little bit of the Daffodil Delight paper in that. But before I put this down on the card, there's ribbon that's wrapped around this piece. So I'm gonna get some ribbon on this piece right here. And all I want to do just to hold it down is I want to put some adhesive. There we go. I want to put some adhesive. Get that. There we go. The way it catches on that. And there's our ribbon. I'm just going to cut it to where it overlaps just a little bit. Turn it over, fold it over so that that ribbon catches on your adhesive, and then pull it. Don't pull it so tight it starts pulling the paper back, but just barely pull it so that it's straight, and then wrap this piece around where it catches onto that adhesive there on the back. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the snail, or the Stampin' seal. It takes a while to get used to new product names, especially after you've had an old one in the catalog for so long. And then we're going to mat this. So bear with me. And I have my hair down today, but I'm going to tell you, I'm about to pull it back while I'm doing this because it is hot, and I have a little fan blowing on me. There we go. So let me pull my hair back really, really quick because the back of my neck, I'm literally, y'all, about to cut my hair because it's just too hot. And I've been wanting to cut it for a while, back to my bob look. I go through these phases where I'll cut it short and then it grows out and then I go through another drastic little change of cutting it. So it's either long or it's short. The only time it's ever medium is when it's growing out. So I'm gonna get a couple of glue dots on the back of that and just stick the ribbon on there. And I am gonna trim off this ribbon a little bit. I wanna get that down. And I'm gonna use one of our Gilded gems. No, don't do it. I get so tired of pulling it back in a ponytail, but you know what? I have, after I cut it, whenever I do cut it, let me get that in the middle of that. After I do cut it, I have these little phantom moments where I want to pull my hair back, and then I realize, oh, Barbara, you don't have long hair anymore. So then I end up kind of pulling it back in a little, I'm going to get a glue dot and stick it underneath this piece here just to help hold that ribbon down. But yeah, I have those phantom moments where I'm like, oh, I don't have long hair anymore. I can't even put it up in a ponytail if I tried. And then I'm going to trim the ribbon just so that it's not so far off the paper. And I'm using my old ribbon scissors, so don't look, because we do have paper snips. But Stampin' Up! Used to sell these ribbon scissors, and I still use them. I have 2 pairs and do not plan on getting rid of them. So I'm not putting anything on the inside. But if you wanted to, if you were doing the card, if you had the stamp set, you could easily stamp. There's this image right here. It's a smaller image. You could stamp, that has that on the back. You could stamp that like on the inside and either use watercolor to color that, or use some blends. Or just leave it, you know, the outline of the color of the stamp. So there is card number 1, but I'm not done. Hold on. I forgot. I used, I broke out the wink of Stella. Stella? Stella's watching. I brought this out, and the wink of Stella, it's a little brush inside. It looks almost like the blends, but in this piece right here, and I'm going to shake it up, it's glitter in it. So if you're doing anything, I don't know if you can see that from the tip. You thought that was funny. There's glitter in there. So all I'm going to do is do this on the center part. And it's not a whole lot. It's not like crazy like our dazzling diamonds. We used to have dazzling diamonds. But I'm just going to do the center of that. And I don't even know if you can see that. I know I can see it from this end. And let me see if I can get it. I know I saw a little bitty shine right there. But in person, you can actually see the little glitter that's on there. Because it's not a whole lot. It's just enough to give something a little bit of a shine. So that is card number 1. This is the sample that I made. You know, you can see some little spots in there that I need to go back and probably fill in, or I can just leave it. And obviously card number 2 is just a little darker. So I think what I might do is just go lightly fill in these little spots, and then do that one. But like I said, no 2 cards are going to be the same, because this one was done yesterday, and then we just did this one. And this may lighten up a little bit too as it dries, but it's pretty much dry. But that's using the new aqua painters and the ink refills. And I just used up, you know, a little old tray that I had from our old adhesives. So, because I'm like that, I keep stuff like that. So, yay! So card number 1, it's nice and simple. It's as simple as I could get with what I could come up with, and then just added a little ribbon and a small little gilded gem right there in the middle of the ribbon to help kind of complement that. So, I want to show you, you can make simple cards with the little, just a few products. You don't need a whole lot. So that was card number 1. And then we're going to do this one next. And I've already done most of it. So for this one, we are using, let me get some of this out of the bin here. We are going to use the blends for that one. Thank you, Darla. But the colors that we're using, I was trying to keep it neutral, but I wanted to do a different color that I don't think I've done before. So this is Merry Merlot. I love this color. It is a little deeper red than we have Cherry Cobbler. I used to love Cherry Cobbler, and then when they came out with Merry Merlot, I was like, yes, I love that. And then this is Crumb Cake. That's a scrap. So we're going to use Merry Merlot, Crumb Cake. These are, get those off of there. These are punched out. That's also part of the dies that comes with this bundle. This is Mossy Meadow. I pulled out Mossy Meadow, and then I also did some of these in Crumb Cake. And then I'm going to use the blends to do that. And I've already done 2 of them. So I've already done 2, and I ended up using Stella on the inside of those as well. So, but I'm going to go ahead and just do 1 with the blends. For those that haven't seen the blends in use. So these are our Stampin blends. They're alcohol-based markers, and there's 2 sides. One part is where you can actually do some coloring, and then there's another part where you can do some drawing, and you can see the lines. Each side shows the thickness of what you're about to do with that side. So I'm going to do the little, get that open, do the little leaves first, and you'll see. You can see the, try to get that so I don't get on the sunflower, but you can see how much faster it is to use the markers than it was for the aqua blends, but you get a different effect. And there's always going to be a dark version, and then there's going to be a lighter version, and this was the darker version because I wanted it to be dark. And then let me close that. And the sunflower part is actually going to be, this is Crumb Cake, light Crumb Cake, and then I'm just coloring that, and I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'm going to go back and color. It's like coloring around the lines and then having to go back and like color the inside, just so that I can use the same motion and go a little quicker around the edges. And then after that, I just go back in and fill the rest in, and then go back and touch up any areas that I might have missed. Now if you want it darker, you can certainly go another round, and the next round that you go, it'll be a little bit darker. So if you want it to be a really light Crumb Cake, just go once around. But if you want it to be a little darker, but you don't quite want it the dark Crumb Cake color, then just go around a second time with light Crumb Cake, and it'll darken every single time you go around. And then the other one is the light Smoky Slate, and that's what I'm going to use, and I'm just going to color the inside. It was that simple. That's how we use our blends. And then I'm going to do 2 things while I have the big shot here, so I don't have to put it away and then bring it back. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to die cut this right here, and then I'm also going to emboss the back of this one sheet, because I put Merry Merlot on top of Merry Merlot, but this one mat right here is actually embossed with the brick embossing folder that we have. So let me put some of this away and make a little bit of room for my big shot. And I'm going to go ahead and do, the little sunflower first. So let me get the little die, which is that one. And then we're going to line that up. It's on a magnetic plate. And I am so ready to be able to use our new die cutting machine in what, about 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks. We're going to be in a position where we can actually pre-order the larger die cutting machine, but that's because only demonstrators would be able to do that. So if you want to be able to preview holiday products right now and purchase holiday products, Get that out of there. I'm gonna push that back just to show you. That's how it die cut it out. So I was trying to line it up that way it was an even color all the way around the die. So that's how you do that. Set that aside. I'm gonna change the plate out because now I want to bring back the other plate and then get my piece of Merlot cardstock. And then depending on how you want your brick to be going depends on how you put your paper in there. So I want mine to be portrait. So I'm gonna put it in there and I'm gonna line it up. There's a line on most of the embossing folders so that if you need to line something up, you can do that. So mine's lined up and I'm gonna stick it in with the folded end first. And I want to say it's, yeah, no, wrong sandwich, sorry. And I brought and run that through. And then we get this. After, it's still in the embossing folder, but when I take it out, then you have that kind of brick background look to your paper. And we have a large variety. Now I'm done with that. Oops, it's picking that up. A large variety of embossing folders. So depending on what you want your background to be, you have lots of options to choose from. So I'm gonna go ahead and fold our Mary Merlot base. Get some of these plates out of the way. Get that folded down. And then I'm gonna put this embossed piece on there. And if you've not yet used, ooh, I got some on my hands, the new Stampin seal, it's got a much larger grip. I mean, not larger, but a lot stronger grip than the old adhesive. And I'm gonna get that down. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put our piece of crumb cake on the inside, just so that if you need to stamp a sentiment on the inside, they can actually read it, or whatever message you want to write. Okay. Get that in there. Try to center that. Okay. Now we're going to start putting card together, but before I do that, I want to do the stamping on the sentiment, which, where'd it go? It says, congratulations on reaching a whole new level of wonderful. And I used Mossy Meadow to do that. My thumbnail broke the other day, and so now I already had problems opening up the stamp pads, but now that my nail broke, it's like it hurts now because it always catches right there, and that's like where skin is. And I'm having to really ink this up because I re-inked it, and I hope I get this right the first time. I re-inked it, but on mine it's a little light, but it's certainly darker than what it was doing last night. And I re-inked it, so I'm just gonna have to replace that, and I've already put in an order to get that replaced. And then I'm just gonna punch this out. So I'm gonna get that lined up. And make sure it's straight, and then just punch that out. So I have that sitting off to the side. So let me get my dimensionals so I can put these little flowers on. And I'm gonna go ahead and use our black ones just because I'm matting on there, and if you turn your card sideways, you won't be able to see, you know, a white dimensional. Just kind of helps conceal the fact that it's on there with one of the dimensionals. And then what did I do with the third one? There it is. So let me get one on there. Make sure I got dimensionals on that. I'm going to put one on the back of this one as well. And then I got glue dots for everything else. So we're going to start building that. And all you do is you take the little adhesive off the back of the dimensional, and then you see the little black piece there. You get that down. And while I have that down, I'm going to go ahead and take the wink of Stella and just do the inside. Really, I just need this little piece over here because this piece is going to get covered. So if you want to just do half of it, no one's going to even see the other half. And then I'm going to take the next one, and I'm going to, I think last night I put them on while they were on here, so let me do that even though I just took that off. Let me put that back on, just so it doesn't stick on something. But I'm going to start adding the little greenery that I already die cut. So when I do this, I'm going to get glue dots on the bottom part right there. Oops. Of course, I can't pick up anything now because of my thumbnail being gone. Okay. That's sticky. And we're going to start adding them to the back. And then I want it to go like that. So when I put those on, I'm just going to stick those right there. And it doesn't matter which one you use. There's no particular order. And of course, the glue dot's sticking to everything now. Just start adding these on there kind of randomly. I think I did like 8. And that's a lot, but I wanted to stick with the little greenery sprigs that were just from this stamp set, because you easily could use some greenery dies from another die set if you wanted to. There are so many different dies out there, and sometimes it just looks pretty to kind of mix things up. I know sometimes I'm like, if I see a card and it doesn't look like something I've seen from that particular stamp set, I'm like, where'd they get that card? Where'd they get that flower from? And then we're having to go search for the stamps that it came from. Now I can take that off. And then we're going to add that to this side right here. Just kind of overlap it just a little bit. And then we're going to do the same thing for this one over here, and the rest of the little leaves that I have die cut, I'm going to put on those. So let me get my glue dots back. Get some on that. And then I want it to go this way. I want that to be facing that direction. So for these, I'm going to put kind of back here. But I think last night I had to do the same thing. I had to move them back just a little bit more so that when I put it there, it would kind of stay on the page. So you want to be careful where you're placing that, where you're placing the dies, because they could easily go off the card. And I'm not going to do it while I'm on here, but I will go back and put a little bit of glue dots behind those just to help hold those down, because those are sticking up and they're only on there with one glue dot that's attached to the larger little sunflower, and it would get that on there. Those will catch on something. I could see that happening already. Those will catch on something and rip off. But before it rips off, it's just really pretty. I'll kind of put that one back there so that it kind of comes up between these two right here. So you can move them around if you need to. That one is way too floppy, so I'm going to get get a glue dot there to help hold that one down a little bit more. Right here. There we go. And then you just take the backing off of that. See, nobody ever sees that part. And then we're going to put that one right here. And then the same thing with that one. I should have put some Wink of Stella, but we're only seeing this piece right here. So I'm only going to do that. And on the top one, I'm going to go ahead and do the full center. And whoever wins these cards will actually be able to see kind of up front the little Wink of Stella glitter. And then take that one off of there and get that one in there. And I did make it right here so that these leaves would kind of help cover a little bit. Trying to get that on there a little bit more. You could easily put the sentiment up here, but I wanted it to be a little lower than normal. But there is card number 2. That's the sample. The one on the left is the sample that I made, and then the one on the right is the one that we just made. So pretty similar, not quite. My ink is a little darker, so I may give this one away in the drawing, the darker one, and keep the lighter one for my sample. So, but the same thing. And like I said, you can make these any colors you want, whatever colors you want to coordinate with. Pretty. Card number 2. And then the final card we're going to do, trying to keep it simple as well. We're going to use some early espresso. This is Mango Melody, which is another one of the yellow colors in our product line. We're going to use the smaller sunflowers. We're going to use the shaker jar and a couple, actually 3 little cutout pieces of greenery on there. So let me get that. And there's our jar punch. There's the little shaker jar. There's our blends that we're going to be using, which one of them that we're using actually is one of the new in colors, and it's the light cinnamon cider. That's what we're going to be doing for the inside. And then we have this early espresso. It's like a faux trim. And then let me get the cut pieces out. There we go. So let's get started on that one. Let me go ahead and fold this base and get that out of the way. Here's our bone folder. Get that down. I'm going to go ahead and put, I need to cut this down a little bit. It's slightly, it's just a little large. Hold on. I cut it the right width, I just didn't cut it the right length. Go. So we're going to get that on the early espresso. That way I can get rid of some of these pieces that are on here. Okay, so let's get that on there. That'll be the first mat. And then we're going to be working with, what did I use? That's very vanilla. Yeah, that's very vanilla. And there's 2 pieces here. One is larger than the other. So let me go ahead and get this larger one out of the way. That one actually goes on the inside of the card, because I tend to sometimes pull out use the wrong piece if I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and get that one on there, and that'll eliminate another piece of cardstock laying around. Okay, so now we have the inside, and then we have the mat to the outside. And then for the shaker jar, get those off of there. We're going to use our punch. And then I'm just going to line this up where I see just a little bit on the edge, and it's flat with the bottom as far as the paper goes, just so that I know it's going to be straight, and then punch that out, and then you can always use that for something else. Now to get the shaker jar on, I'm going to go ahead and do that piece. There's 2 pieces of adhesive on the front and back, that way it'll stick either way. I'm going to go ahead and take off the part, if I can get it off. The back one wants to come off easier than the front one, so let me see. There we go. I'm going to take this front piece off only because I want to go ahead and get that stuck on there, but before I do that, let me go ahead and stamp in case I mess it up. And I'm stamping with Early Espresso. And the stamp sentiment says, "Know that you are loved." So let me get that on there. And I didn't stamp far enough to the left, so I didn't leave enough room to stamp that, so hold on. I'm going to cut another little piece so that I can use on there. I knew that was way too easy. Make sure it's the same size. There we go. All right, let's try this again. In fact, let me go ahead and stamp it first. That way I know for sure where I need to punch. So we'll get that out of the way. And then that way, get the punch in there. Oops. There we go. Trying to pick where I'm at. There we go. Yay! It worked. Okay. That is all the ink I need for Early Espresso, because everything else was blends. So now that I have that stamped and the jar punched out, and then I took the adhesive off the front of the shaker jar, I'm going to go ahead and put the shaker jar in its spot. So I'm just turning it around and inserting this on there. If you wanted to do this step last, you could, because I think when I did the sample, like over here, I won't be able to put adhesive there, but I can actually put a glue dot if I wanted to, but it's almost like it's okay, because once I take the little backing off of this, this is going to stick down to the card. It already has adhesive on the back of that. So I have that piece. But before I put that piece down, I'm going to take these 3 little sprigs of greenery that I already did, and I'm going to get some glue dots. Let me go ahead and take the back off here, because when you take the back off, it actually helps these stick to it. You can also do glue dots if you wanted to. So let me get, I want them to kind of be in the direction that the flowers are going to be. So let me do one there. And you see how it's just sticking to that piece right there? That's what I want. So I'm looking at it through this angle. And then the same thing for the middle. And it just sticks to that. And then for that last one, I want it to kind of be off the side, because I have 3 flowers. So I'm kind of trying to get it in 3 different directions. And then now, so this is where it might be a little difficult once everything's on, but you can't put this on and then do that without this snail wanting to stick to things. So from that point, let me get a little bit on this side. Well, go down as far as I can, and then I'm going to take some glue dots and just stick them kind of right there. That way there's a little bit more adhesive right there, and then on the corner I'm going to put a glue dot actually maybe a couple of glue dots, just to help fill in those smaller little areas that don't have adhesive on them. But the fact that there's adhesive on the back of that, it'll help stick it down. So, okay, and then now I'm going to get this on there. And like I said, there's so many different ideas for backgrounds that you can do with the little shaker jars. Just making sure that's straight before I put it down. And then really just tighten it over here. And I say that because there's a whole nother stamp set that has, let's see, where did I put it? It's called Jar of Flowers. It's right here in front of me. It's called Jar of Flowers and has all these other flowers, but I don't even think I've used this yet. I've just pulled it out and looked at some of them, but haven't really come up with any cards to use it. So between the Celebrate Sunflowers and the Jar of Flowers, and I'm going to show you in the catalog what I'm talking about. This is part of the Flowers for Everything suite that's in the catalog. So I do want to show you that once I get the, once I'm done with this card. But now I'm going to put, I did 2 of them, so let me do the 3rd one and then die cut that one out, just so the viewers that missed maybe the first part can see. But on this one I'm using the dark Mossy Meadow, and I am just coloring in the leaves. It'll go quick. Kind of holding my breath while I'm doing that, so I'll make sure I get in between the lines there. So there's that little piece. And then I used the Light Mango Melody for the flowers, and I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the second card. I'm going to try to get the little tips there and then go back in and color, and then we're going to die cut it out real quick. You have a steady hand, you can kind of rock it, kind of zigzag, and it'll go really quick. And like I said, if you want it to be a little shade darker, but not, well, this is the dark one. I mean, this is the light one, but if you don't want it as dark as the darker one, then just go over it a second time. But I'm going to leave it, actually, you know what? I did go over it a second time, and you'll be able to see how it's kind of becoming more a mango-y color. I love our names to our inks. They're so creative and fun. I'll be talking to my husband and saying, oh yeah, look at this color, and I'll call it by the name that it's supposed to be, and he's like looking at me like, Barb, that's yellow, or that's blue. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's Misty Moonlight. And he's like, oh, okay. He just kind of looks at me like I'm crazy. But it does take some time to get to learn all the names of the colors that we have. So let me get the Big Shot back. Oops, catalog fell. So I can die cut that sunflower. Get the right one. I made sure I put the die back where it belongs so I wouldn't lose it, because y'all know me, I tend to lose things that are literally right in front of me, and they remain lost until after I start cleaning. And run that through. What was brilliant, Darla? I missed it. I wasn't looking down whatever I was doing. That was, so I didn't catch what the comment was. So I'm gonna bring that back. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just use these black dimensionals to pop those up. And after this, we are almost done with this card. And I'm just gonna layer them. If you look at look at the sample, I'm just going to layer them where it looks like they're coming out of the jar. So we're going to get that one right there. And I'm going to put the one on the right down next. And it's okay if it's a little off, as long as it's not hanging off of the card. The way you attach the leaves in the jar. Yeah, you know, when I did the sample, I was using glue dots, and they're a little bit above the line where it was cut. And then after I put it down, I was like, oh, I didn't really need glue dots, because that kind of helps hold it down. And that stuff is sticky once it comes off. And on this one, I'm just going to stick that one right there, just to kind of help fill that little void. And if you want, you can also throw some Stella on the inside of those centers. And then whoever sees this will be like, oh, it's a nice little bitty shine with a little bit of glitter. Not much, just a little. And then the last piece is the ribbon. Just gonna make a bow. You could use actually any color ribbon with this, any of these colors. I just decided to use Early Espresso to help offset the base color, is the only reason I use this. But if I wanted to use a lighter one, I could just use that ruched ribbon and color it with the Early Espresso blend. So then let me get these snipped. I might have to trim this a little bit more once I get it down, and then I'm going to put that on with the glue dot, but I'm going to use a couple of glue dots because I want to make sure it really sticks to this card here, or to this shaker jar. And I'm going to turn it sideways, but there is some dimension to this shaker jar really adds some dimension. And I'm going to show you, because this is what it looks like when it's front facing. But when you turn it sideways, you can see how much that card is raised because of that shaker jar. So the one on the left was the sample that I made last night. And then this is the sample from today. Cute. That's card number 3. So we are looking at, let me get that out of the way. There's card number 3. There's card number 2. I pulled out the darker one that I did. Card number 2. And then that's the one we did today, which is a little bit darker. So I'm going to touch this up in some of the little areas here, and I'm going to do that one for the drawing because it's a little bit lighter, but that's the one that we did today. I was a little heavy on the ink, but it's okay. And those are all 3 of the cards for today. And I'm going to show you in the catalog here in just a few seconds the suite that all of this comes from. So I showed you the 2 stamp sets, the Celebrate Sunflowers and Jar of Flowers. I showed you those 2, and what we used today was from the Celebrate Sunflowers and the dies. So I really tried to keep it to just the products that are in this set so that you can see. But there's also another sentiment, thanks a bunch. And I know, let me go grab one of the cards off of my wall. Just wanted to show you a couple of more cards that you can do with these. This was a swap that I did at the retreat back at the end of May. There was a weekend retreat that I went to. I did that swap, and see, that's what I was talking about, just stamping something on the inside. So there's another example of a card, and we don't have a crate die cut anymore. So what I did to get that to look like a crate is I took some of the In Good Taste holiday from designer series paper from the annual catalog, and with the Sharpie I just drew some straight lines and the little bitty kind of nails on there to make it look like it was sitting, they were coming out of a crate. That's all I did. So I had to be creative, but it worked. And then this was another card. I don't know if this was a swap or I don't remember where I got this from, but I participate in a monthly swap every single month with other fellow stamp therapists, and I got this one somehow. And then this one I know I got at the retreat because this was one of the thank you. It was one of the thank you cards that we got from April and Jennifer for coming to the retreat. So I thought that was kind of simple too, with a little bit of die cutting. And there's that gilded gem. So it's cute. So there's so many different things that you can make with those stamps, that whole set. And I'm going to show you, because it's the early part of the catalog here. If you have your annual catalog, it starts on page 10, and this is called the Flowers for Every Season Suite. And this entire collection, I don't know if you can see that. Let me move that stamp set. I don't know if you can see all that. But for this suite, and I do have everything here, but my desk is already so messy, I don't want to start dragging stuff out. But this entire collection is $180.50 and comes with 2 bundles, which is the Jar of Flowers bundle. So when I showed you that stamp set, it also comes with the coordinating jar punch, and then the Celebrate Sunflowers has the coordinating dies that are on the inside. Then you have this gorgeous designer series paper, and I have one right here where there's a Memories and More pack that has more things you can make with more cards. These are already kind of like pre-printed. You just stamp on them and put them together. I haven't done anything with those, but it's a designer series paper, the Memories and More pack. There's also envelopes. There's the the mason jar shaker domes. There's a ribbon pack, which I have right here. It's called the Flowers for Every Season Ribbon Combo Pack. Trying to get the right one out of here. They're like stuck in my little container that I have. There we go. There we go. Whew. And I've already used up the white ribbon on that. So there's a 3-pack of ribbon that's included in it. Then we have some gems, and there's also a Stampin' Blends combo pack that has 4 of the 5 new colors on it, which the new colors are Magenta Madness, Cinnamon Cider, Bumblebee, Just Jade, and Misty Moonlight. And you can see from this catalog all of the pretty cards that you can make in projects. And that's just page 10 and 11. When you flip it over, you start to see cards made from the Jar of Flowers bundle and the different projects that you can make with those. And there's that Celebrate Sunflowers, along with different ideas. And when you get the bundles, you automatically get a 10% off discount if you purchase just the bundles. But the suites are the entire suite, and that's a lot of product in one suite, is $180.50. And I will share with you, you could probably get most of it if you purchase the starter kit. You can choose $125 worth of free, it's not free product, you're purchasing it, but it's $125 worth of product for $99, and use your kit to get anything you want in the catalog, and then anything over and above that $125, you can place on your first demonstrator order and get a 20% discount off of that as well. So that is that's a really great deal. Whether you're in it for a hobby or you want to do this to make a little extra money to pay for a bill around the house, or you want to work it for a business, there's lots of benefits to joining my team and having Stampin' Up! In your life. So let me put this away and show the cards one last time. And then while I have that there, I did have my other sheet that I wanted to, what I do with it. That host code that's on there, that's right here, that is the July online host code. And if you go to my website and you place an order and it's at least $25, you can get the kit to make, and I'm pulling these cards back over here, you get the July kit. These 4 cards, normally I just do 3 cards, but at the beginning of the month I do 4 just to show you what the monthly card kit is. And I still need to fix that little boo-boo, but I'm going to fix that before I send these out. But you'll get the kit. You'll get everything cut, embossed, and die cut. You do need to do all of the stamping, so you do need to at least have the Birds and Branches bundle to complete it. And oh, that's another one where I used, I think, a different sentiment. But you do have to have the Birds and Branches bundle in order to complete these particular dies and the birdies and whatnot. So let me put those away. But what I was looking for was the piece of paper that I had that already, here it is. If you go to my website and you're placing your order and you want to know where the host code is in your shopping bag, on the bottom left hand side there is a section that says host code, and it asks, do you have a host code? Enter it here and click apply. That's where you would put that code in right there and hit apply. And then always check out above this little section here, because there's always a section that has special offers that Stampin' Up! Has, and like any notes, but especially the clearance rack. So if you really like a really great deal, there's products on there that are retired. They could be current, maybe just a different style. I know there's some dies on there that you think that are in the current catalog, but the new dies are designed for the new die cutting machines we come out. So you may see some things on there. So always check out the clearance rack. I don't know if it's been updated lately. It's been a few months since the last update, but if you're on my communication list, or you follow me on Facebook, or you read my blog, you'll always get a notification when the clearance rack's been updated. And those are always while supplies last. So you want to make sure that when you get a notification from me, that you go out there, because things do sell really, really quickly once they go on the clearance rack. And there's always good deals on there. But that's where you go to put that host code that you see right there. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get this camera pointed back and sit down, because I've been standing up the entire time. And see, I put my hair back because I was like, whew, that was way too hot. So anyway, thank you all for taking some time to join me on this hot Sunday afternoon. I'm about to turn that little fan up because I'm like hot. Stay hydrated, be well, continue to practice your safe social distancing. Thank you for all your compliments. Remember, like, comment, share my videos. Don't forget, I have Stampin' Up! Bingo online next month. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be my first bingo online. I've done live events, so and I was able to do Zoom yesterday with a team member from North Texas, along with everybody that was here. So I know it works. like it's supposed to. And so and then retreat, if you are looking to get away, and I'm really hoping things stay where we're able to gather in small groups, which this is a small retreat. It's not a large venue at all, and we're limited to 12 people at this particular retreat. But if you are looking to get away and you don't live anywhere around here, come out to the Texas Hill Country. It's beautiful. I've been sharing some pictures because the owner, Debbie, is sharing all these pictures of all of these animals that are just everywhere out there. There's deer. The deer are eating her plants off her front porch, the ones that are supposed to be deer resistant plants. But she's seen roadrunners out there. The crepe myrtles are in full bloom. It's gorgeous out there. And I got to see it for myself several weeks back. So if you're looking to get away for the weekend, it's October 8th through October 11th. It is Columbus Day weekend. And on my blog and then on my Facebook page, there's events that have all of the details and how to RSVP. And if you can't go, I think I saw Stella say she was interested in the to-go option further in the comments. So there is a to-go option as well. So if you feel safer at home and you still want your little retreat to go, you get everything that live attendees get. You just don't actually go to the retreat and spend the night and you're in a big room with everybody else. And I'll tell you right now, when I walked into the retreat craft studio, I was just floored, because at the very end of the studio there's this large window, and once you look out at, all you see is like the Texas Hill Country. It's gorgeous. So I'm really excited to be able to go there, and I am looking forward to rebooking at that particular spot in the future. So thank you so much for joining me. I will be back. Hi, Marianne. I will be back next Sunday at 3 p.m. right here. And in the meantime, stay safe, everybody. Stay hydrated. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. And enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. And we'll see you next week. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.